All right, today we're diving into a pretty wild theory that's starting to make some serious waves on Wall Street. It's all about Ethereum and a potential price target that honestly could completely change the game for the entire financial world.
Okay, just look at that number for a second. $21,000. And no, your eyes are not deceiving you. That's what some pretty big name strategists are saying one single Ethereum token could be worth. I mean, it sounds crazy, right? Absolutely unbelievable.
So, that's the big question we've got to ask, isn't it? Is this just another dose of crypto hype, the usual moonshot predictions? Or is this a quiet signal that Wall Street is gearing up for its next massive play? Let's dig in, because I think the answer is going to surprise you.
So, the $21,000 question. Literally, how in the world does anyone get to a number that high? Well, to figure that out, we have to look past the day-to-day price charts. We need to unpack this really powerful theory that's getting a lot of attention from the big money, from institutional finance.
This whole idea comes from a financial strategist named Tom Lee, and he's got a name for it, the super cycle. And trust me, it's a big name for an even bigger idea. All right, let's start putting the pieces together. Because what we're talking about here isn't just, another crypto bull run that comes and goes. No, this theory is about something much, much bigger. It's about Wall Street potentially writing the next chapter of its entire story. In this quote right here, it just nails the core of the whole thing. It says, the bullish case is that Wall Street is going to rebuild the financial rails on top of a neutral public blockchain. Just let that sink in for a minute. They're not talking about just using crypto or dabbling in it. They're talking about rebuilding the entire financial system from the ground up on top of it. That is a massive, massive idea. Okay, so we have the name, supercycle, and we have the main thesis. So now let's really break it down. What does this theory actually mean for us? So here it is in a nutshell. The supercycle theory is basically this. The global financial system is on the cusp of being totally rebuilt on a public blockchain. Now, why a public chain like Ethereum? Well, think about it. You get 24/7 access from anywhere in the world, you get way lower costs, and you get this incredible transparency. All things that, let's be honest, the current system is not great at. And if Ethereum becomes the go-to platform for this rebuild, well, the value appreciation could be absolutely enormous. And get this isn't just some far-off prediction for the future. The folks who believe in this theory point to the fact that a staggering 70% of new financial activity, things like stablecoins, decentralized lending, creating new assets, it's already happening on Ethereum. Right now. It's like the foundation is literally being poured while we're talking. A shift this huge can feel kind of unprecedented, right? Like, has anything like this ever happened before? Well, yeah, it has. And to really grasp the potential here, we can actually look back in history for a really interesting parallel. So let's hop in the time machine and go back to 1971. Up until then, the US dollar was tied directly to gold. You could, in theory, trade your dollars for a fixed amount of gold. But then, in 71, that all changed. The US cut the cord. The dollar was no longer backed by a physical thing. And what happened? The dollar's usefulness as the base layer for global finance just exploded. It created trillions and trillions of dollars in value. And this is where the parallel gets really interesting. The dollar got disconnected from a physical asset, gold, and became the world's financial foundation. The supercycle theory basically says that Ethereum, this neutral, global, digital asset, could become the foundation for a whole new world of tokenized assets. It's like, just as Wall Street built the entire modern financial system on top of the dollar, the theory says they're about to build the next system on top of Ethereum. Okay, so that's a pretty powerful analogy from history, right? But a theory is just a theory without some real-world proof. So are there any actual signs that the big institutions are buying into this idea? You know what they say, let's follow the money. The magic word here, the key mechanism, is tokenization. You're going to be hearing this word a lot. All it means is turning real-world things, we're talking stocks, bonds, maybe even your house, into digital tokens that live on a blockchain. And this is what has Wall Street completely hooked, because it could make trading everything faster, cheaper, and just way more efficient. And you want concrete evidence? Here you go. Consensys, that's the company behind MetaMask, the wallet that basically everyone in crypto uses, is planning to go public with an IPO. Now, who are the underwriters for this deal? It's not some small crypto firm.
It's JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs. I mean, these are the titans of Wall Street. And they are now getting their hands directly into bringing Ethereum's most important infrastructure to the public stock market. That is not a small signal. That's a giant flashing neon sign.
So let's bring it all back. How do we get from Wall Street getting interested all the way back to that crazy $21,000 number? Well, the math behind it is basically this. The theory suggests all this institutional adoption will push Ethereum's value way up, specifically in relation to Bitcoin. If the ETH to Bitcoin price ratio gets back to the same high point it hit back in 2021, well, when you do the math with some future projections for Bitcoin, you land right around that $21,000 target for Ethereum.
And that really brings us to the final big idea here. This supercycle theory, it's so much more than just a price prediction. It's a whole thesis about what the future of money and finance is going to look like. So the question I want to leave you with is this. If Wall Street really is about to rebuild the entire financial system, are we, right now, watching them lay the very first bricks of that new foundation? It's a pretty powerful thought. Thanks for diving in with me on this one.